Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution. We have an amazing show for you today. We are going to talk about the winners of the contest for who could ask the best questions. So we're going to announce the winner today. We are going to also announce the winner for the top 5 cars. We're going to do a countdown of your list. Jeremy, Christian, and I put them in order of your list of the top 5 cars. We're going to answer your questions. And the topic today is going to be the difference between amateurs and pros. But please, everybody, welcome Jeremy, the shop owner and creator of the Profitable Service Advisor, Mr. Jeremy O'Neill. How are you doing?
Chris, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. It is awesome to be back from a 2-week break, all refreshed and recharged and ready to rock.
How was your trip? Anything fun happen? You get poison ivy in your pants or anything?
None of that, a million mosquito bites, but I almost got gored by a buffalo. I don't know if you read the news story about a 72-year-old woman in Yellowstone that did get gored by the buffalo.
Yeah.
She's the reason I didn't get gored. So,
Jeremy!
You pushed her?
Jeremy, welcome back.
Hey, Christian, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
I don't know. You sounded like you were talking about wildlife there. I have a question for you.
Okay, I'm ready. What's your question?
What time is it when there's a bison in your canoe?
I don't know. What time is it when there's a bison in your canoe?
Time to get a new canoe.
There it is.
That's
Wait, is he back to
in-house.
hacking? Is he back to hacking us now? That's what he's doing, the hacker. So yeah, it was really awesome. We were driving past this meadow, and there were 2 buffalo out there, so we pulled over, and there were some trees, and I walked up. I was about 15 feet away from the buffalo. They say you're not supposed to get within 25 feet. I don't really follow the rules, though. So I had my video camera out, and I noticed this older woman next to me. And so we both kind of started creeping in a little bit closer, and then the buffalo charged us, and I don't know what happened. I just ran like instinct. I think I might have pushed her down. The opening between the trees was really small, so I was able just to squeeze through there just in time, and then I don't know, the carnage was behind me. So we could post a photo of it later if you want to, but it was my mother-in-law, so I kind of have some family insight there, so it's okay.
Your mother-in-law was the one you pushed in front of the buffalo?
No, I wish she was, but no. I mean, I love my mother-in-law. Now this is really going bad. People are going to think like I just
You
have no heart.
love your mother-in-law, but you wish she would get killed by a buffalo.
Getting gored by a buffalo doesn't mean you get killed by the buffalo. There's a difference. You can survive a goring, So it's just there's a difference there. But have you ever been next to a buffalo? They're really big.
Yeah, they're like F-150 pickups.
Yeah, it's like 2,000 pounds of pure muscle. So it was a great trip. The other highlight of the trip, which we started at, we went to St. George, Utah, and my kids are really into downhill mountain biking. My son Landon and Gavin love doing downhill. Landon loves to just shred the trails. So we were on a mission to find Red Bull Rampage, and we found it. And it was just an epic 2 days there doing some jumps and seeing where the pros ride the best free ride downhill mountain bike course on the planet. It was epic. So
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Red Bull Rampage.
you don't even know what that is.
I don't. I have no clue what you're talking about. I do know that Buffalo makes really good steaks and really good burgers, which I have very often. I've been to Ted Turner's restaurant.
Okay.
Ted's, I think it's called.
Right.
There's a bunch of those. I've had probably the best buffalo steak I ever had was in Wyoming in Jackson Hole. But it is one of my favorite meats.
So if a buffalo charged you, would you try to slay it, or what would you do?
Jeremy, there is going to be 0 situations where a buffalo is going to charge me. I'm not hanging out in nature. I'm not. My vacation is not going to be in Yellowstone.
Well, I heard you were tired of the city and you were going to get out of LA. So have plans
Yeah, but I'm
changed
still
there?
not going to move to Montana.
Well, I mean,
No, we're looking at Texas now. We had a big meeting today. Your sister, who is our director of operations here, and I had a big meeting, and it looks like Texas might be the best option.
Interesting. More on that later. You got to hear from SDR Live. Breaking news: Chris Collins is moving to Texas.
Better than Nevada, Texas.
There we go. A lot of business incentives for moving there. So, yeah, it was a great trip. Good to be back. What do we have on the docket today? Questions got a little bit better.
Yeah, the questions did. Your idea of that contest was genius because there were a couple really good questions while you were out figuring out how to make buffalo burgers. People were posting questions. Somebody was mentioning the other day on a strategy session that they were hip to what I was doing, that I was drinking beer on the show. And I was like, beer on the show? What?
That's because that glass did look like beer. I remember that episode. It looked like you were drinking a beer.
Yeah, so this was on the floor, right?
Right.
Or maybe I was pouring it in my cup. And so this does look like a beer. But two things. One is this is iced coffee. And two,
cold brew.
it tastes like piss.
That does. That cold brew does not taste good at
So
all.
I'm holding up a bottle of cold brew coffee that looks like a beer bottle, an old school, I don't know, you'd call these like stubbies or something.
Looks like a Red Stripe bottle.
It literally does taste like piss. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of it in the refrigerator, but it'll be there for a long time. And was it you that tried it? Because I said one day, I goes, man, this coffee tastes like piss. And then somebody here tried it, and they were like, it really does. Yeah, the voice of God tried it. And he was like, you know what? It does. And then I was like, well, how do you know what pee tastes like? And
Well,
then the
hold on.
conversation went
If you're talking about
sideways.
if you're talking about the voice of God, he should have already known that going in, being omnipotent and all-knowing. So I'm just saying, if you follow the scriptures, the voice of God should have already known.
So are you saying that our voice of God isn't actually the voice of God?
I'm not going to make that claim. I just would think that you should have already known that.
Have I ever told you my voice of God story about speaking at Volkswagen?
No.
So I get asked by Volkswagen to speak at their like parts and service event that was in Texas, actually. It was at the Gaylord in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, what a great facility that place is.
It's huge. It's like its own city, right?
It is.
So
It's
I get there the night before, and they want me to like do a sound check and kind of do a walkthrough. And the guy that was running sound, they said, oh, he's a big fan, like he wants to meet you or whatever. And I met him, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And he goes, hey, do you want a song? Do you want me to play a song when you come on? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, AC/DC? And I was like, you know me. And so I'm like, yeah, play Back in Black. So that all kind of happens. And then the next morning, I'm ending the meeting, going into lunch, and then that's it. So I'm kind of the last speaker, right? And I don't know, there's over 1,000 people there, and it's one of those stages where you can't see the audience because the lights are so bright on you, and you're way up, right? So I'm in the back, and the vice president's up there talking. They're doing their whole thing, and I don't know, I'm probably backstage for like an hour and a half. And then they come and get me, and they're like, okay, you're going on next. And they have me on the side of the stage, and then they go, just wait for the voice of God. And I'm like, the voice of God? Okay. And so then you can tell how experienced I am, speaking at these sort of things. So then all of a sudden the guys on stage come off, and then the voice of God says, please welcome Chris Collins to the stage. So then I walk out and I start with my first joke, and then guess what? Dun, 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 dun. And it totally cuts me off in my first sentence. The music comes on.
Oh, no.
So you're supposed to wait for the voice of God, then wait for AC/DC, then. But it was pretty funny. Everybody in the audience just probably thought I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing.
I'm sure you pulled it off, though.
It was fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was a good crowd. But that's the voice of God to me, is that voice. I think it says, please welcome Jeremy O'Neill to the stage.
Go
What
run
would
it
be
out
your
there.
What would be your intro song?
My intro song would probably be Korn or,
Wow, living up the IE, huh?
absolutely.
Orange County's in the house.
Make it
Korn's
happen.
from Orange County, you know that, right?
I thought they were from hell.
They might be.
Yeah.
You know what else, Jeremy? All
No.
this talk about food, it's making me think about something. Where does
Oh,
a
boy.
one-legged waiter work?
Wait, where does Jeremy? I think we should guess one of these every once in a while. Where does a one-legged waiter work?
I know the answer to this. I know
Wait,
the answer. I know
wait,
the answer.
what-
It was the Denny's at Idaho Falls, Idaho. There was a one-legged waiter.
Well, that must have been the competition because the real answer, Jeremy, is IHOP.
Oh, that's too easy. How did we not get that?
Well, I think IHOP
Okay.
needs all the publicity
Christian,
they can get right now. They need all the
while you're here, Christian, let's go through the top 5 cars. So we read this list I think it was by Car and Driver. There was a joke of a list saying the 3 most influential cars of all time were clearly the riders' favorite because they were not. And so we asked you to post in the comments what you thought the most influential cars were of all time. Understand, any one of these could be right on the list, but we felt like we put them in the best order we could. And so,
Our list is way better than Car and Driver's list.
Go ahead and read the list. You need a drum roll, Christian? What do you need?
Drum roll sounds good.
Sorry, I don't have that.
Okay, good. Then moving on. Number 5, the all-famous Dodge Caravan.
Woo!
That's a game changer right there.
The Dodge Caravan is a game changer. Please explain. People wanted to have more kids because they're like, hey, no longer are we restricted to just 4 kids in a car. Now we can have 8 kids. And that's why the population is gone crazy.
It actually is the pure reason for world hunger now that you say that. You're right.
And global warming probably too, because all those little kids.
No. You guys have it all wrong. It's the parts department fault for global warming. That's in world hunger. That's it right there. What's number 4?
Number 4, great vehicle, the 1968 Pontiac GTO.
That's a cool car.
Absolutely. Muscle car.
In 3rd place, the 66 Dodge Charger.
Ooh, or any of the Hemi products of that era. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Cuda, the Challenger, all those were good ones.
The Javelin.
You know what was great about those cars is they got amazing gas mileage.
Like 2 gallons per mile.
Wow, I just got the same reaction Christian gets to some of his jokes.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
Crickets.
You got to bask in it and just love it.
Well, hold
I
on.
used
In
to
our
drive-
defense, if we were waiting for the punchline, sir. You're just sitting
Yeah,
there
they
waiting.
get great gas mileage. That's the punchline. You can literally, in those cars, I had a Charger before, you can literally watch the fuel gauge go down.
That's so funny.
You barely make it from gas station to gas station. But they are great cars.
Agreed. And number 2, another great choice, the 65 Ford Mustang.
Ooh, game changer. See, this list is way better than the other list.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
I feel like that person doesn't understand cars.
I would agree with you. And
Okay.
It's interesting. Look at the when the Mustang came out in the 60s, that was a very big generational change and a swing in society. It's kind of like where we're at right now in society. And then you've got, what car in the next 10 years is going to come out and be that, make that statement that the Mustang made. It's very interesting.
What would you what we need to do is get some sort of what do you call those, like psychics or whatever that can bring the dead back? Like you can talk to your dead grandparents or whatever.
A priest? You want to bring
A
priest
medium?
on the show?
Are they called mediums? We need to get a medium on the show and bring Lee Iacocca up and then ask him, because wasn't he responsible for that Mustang?
Was on the
Let's
team.
bring him up and ask him what the next. But we want to bring back younger Lee Iacocca, not old grumpy Lee Iacocca.
Hey,
Can
we could probably get the actor that played Iacocca in the Ford versus Ferrari movie. That might work.
Why don't we just get the real Lee Iacocca? We just get a medium and we dial him up. You pay a medium like $500 and they pretend like they're talking to Lee Iacocca.
No, we could do that, but you said you wanted a younger version of him, so I don't know how you're going to go back in time.
Well, you know how there's like the older version of Elvis and the younger version of Elvis, like on the stamp?
Yes.
We just want Lee Iacocca kind of got a little grumpier as he got older. We want the like kinder, gentler, but we just tell the medium to dial. It's fake anyways. He'll dial up whatever Lee Iacocca we want.
Oh, there we go. That works.
But what would the next car be that would change the game like that? What car?
This is our top one. If only we had a drum roll. So the number one most influential vehicle, according to our listeners, is the Model T.
Of course. Of course, of course. Now a bunch of people put Model T in the comments because we have really smart listeners. You know, obviously people listening to Service Drive Revolution, their IQs are probably 15, 20 points higher than most other shows. But the $100 there is going to go to the first person to put in Model T. Everybody else that put in Model T will get swag. Does that sound fair, Christian?
Extremely fair and good choices.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great
I have
list,
to-
you guys.
It was great. I have to disinfect real quick. Okay. Carry on.
Are you afraid that Christian's going to give you corona through the computer?
There's a lot of germs in downtown LA, man. I just don't want them coming through.
There is a hole in the ozone above Jeremy's shop. I'm just saying that with the amount of aerosol that goes into that place.
Oh my God, this can was built in 1970. Dang it.
Hilarious. Okay, good job, Christian. Thank you. Now let's go to the voice of God and let's answer the questions this week first, Jeremy, and then we'll talk about our favorite questions and who's going to win the $100.
You see, I'm prepared. For those of you listening, I just put my sunglasses on, and I'm prepared.
For
the
those
voice
who
of
are
God.
listening, he just put his sunglasses on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna
For
get
those who
bright.
are watching, we're pointing out the obvious. I think we're having technical difficulties because there's a lot of action over here, but there's no voice of God.
The voice of God is here.
Sounds like he's in New Mexico. Where is the voice of God today?
Before we get to our questions, we had a response from one of our last questions. VaporX from YouTube, who asked what we think of personality profiles, has given us an update. Chris, thank you for answering my question. We actually did test all of our employees, and guess what? They're even more introverted than me. Ha ha! Thanks again, Chris.
I love the humor in that voice right there. That was great.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
You are.
It's not news to anybody.
You are an undisputed genius. Yes, sir.
Those personality tests are a waste of money.
He should go back and take it from the viewpoint, answer all the questions like an extrovert would answer it, then he'll be labeled as an extrovert.
Yeah, you can manipulate those tests. Just answer, if you're an introvert, answer the questions the opposite of how you would. And you'll come out an extrovert. It's pretty simple.
Remember, you can't change a-holes. A-holes are going to be a-holes. Can't change them.
That's not a category.
Well, you just don't know if someone's going to be an a-hole until you
This
work
next
to them.
question comes from YouTube. What's your opinion about dealerships using a check-in kiosk? We have one, and the manager wants us to use it, even knowing it takes more time and it can't check history.
What do we think about kiosks for service advisors? The first thing I think is if they're, I don't know, if you run the danger of getting replaced by a kiosk, you might want to get into selling mortgages or something. What do you think, Jeremy?
No, I don't think they could do that because you have to get a special license for that these days. It's not just easy to go do mortgages, so that's probably too hard. I welcome it. I say bring it on. And this ties in great to our topic today of, being a pro versus an amateur. Look, the kiosks are going to come. There's no question about it. The dollars and cents, it's going to help dealerships and service departments bring a higher net to gross. And consumers, it's not about the kiosk. You got to wrap your head around this. It's around the process. And if you're going to beat, Chris, I would slay the kiosk dragon. I would come in every single day. I would pre-print and get prepared for all the customers coming in the next day. I would contact them via text, email, or phone call. I'd schedule their drop-off appointment 15 minutes apart. I'd let them know that the check-in process is going to take between 10 to 15 minutes so I could pet the dog properly, answer all their questions, get their ticket written up properly, and just ensure that they have this magical, personalized, customized experience that's tailor fit for them. And then after a month of that, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, my clientele is going to be lining up for me out the drive, and they won't want to see the kiosk. And consumers do want a faster experience, but you got to remember, if you've ever seen a customer at a kiosk on their own, they get stuck, and that's where they need a professional to come in and help. So I welcome it. Bring it on. I would use it as a tool. It's just another tool. Use it when it's appropriate, but find out how to slay the kiosk dragon.
Good one.
This next question comes from Hector.
So hold
Hello,
on, God, and
guys.
I'm sorry, I don't usually interrupt you very often, but I feel like it's important for everyone to know a thing or two about you. So I heard Guy talking to Michael yesterday, and he said to Michael, come forth and receive eternal life. But Michael came fifth and won a toaster.
Oh, that's ridiculous. God is speechless.
God does not award toasters. God awards participation trophies. This next question comes from Hector. Hello, guys. I recently left a Japanese manufacturer after 15 years and my complete dealership experience at the same store. I switched to a Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram as a fixed ops director. What recommendations do you have to grow a store with a lot of potential and a lot of UIOs? I have many ideas, but love to listen to opinions to better a store.
See, Chris, I told you the questions were going to get better if we just rewarded the behavior. That's a good question. I like that question. I would, my first word of advice would be to get a coach. And you love listening to ideas and all that, but what's really going to separate you is your execution and how you create this remarkable service experience for your clientele. And a coach can help you get there faster and weed through the nonsense and the noise. So I would absolutely say grab one of our coaches and help them guide you along that path to success. And it's all right there. It's a remarkable service experience. How do you deliver that remarkable service experience?
Yeah, the customer experience has to be the first thing that you figure out. And then market in a different way. Like marketing that is buy 3 tires, get 1 free and all that. Like tell a story, be engaging, be a part of the community. Go back to what this industry was about. Being a part of the community and interacting with the community is a good way to build your RO count too. But you have home field advantage. So if you're a dealership and you're selling the car, you have home field advantage. It's the experience and the customer's feeling about you or us in that scenario that keeps them coming back. So you need to manage their emotions, and their perception of value needs to be managed.
Absolutely good. Great points.
God rolled his eyes.
God did not roll his eyes. This final question comes from Clarence on LinkedIn. Chris, I need help knowing if I should pursue being a service advisor, BDC, call center agent, or parts advisor. I've been in and out of positions at different dealerships, but don't know which one is my passion.
Wait a second. Did I hear the question correctly? Chris, did he say that he actually has had a job
He did.
in the parts department?
Yeah. Well, that was one on the list.
So what do you think that experience did for him?
He's
Work
going to need
ethic.
some sort of exorcism from parts. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to have to remove the parts before, yeah.
This
You're
is
gonna-
why he doesn't know where his passion is, because the parts department sucked his passion right out of him, right? Work ethic.
You're gonna have to go to a shaman or something and do some sort of hallucinogenic thing in the forest of Peru, something.
You could go to Sedona, Arizona, and possibly do that as well. So,
Is that
All
where
right,
you did it?
who said I did that? I actually had not done that. Here's
Just trying.
Yeah. I think you have to look at, where your passion lies. Do you really have a passion for helping people? If you do not have a passion for helping people, you don't belong in the service department. That's just a game changer right there. So if you like to help people, then I would say lean towards service. I never went in my career path to sales or finance. I just chose to stay in the service department. It was a great fit for me. It really helped me fulfill a lot of the things that I needed in my career. It was a lot more stable than working, on the sales floor. So I would say look at the service department. You've got to pick one and then move forward with it. So find your passion.
For me, I just grew up really, really poor. And so the job that was commissioned, that the harder I worked, the more I could make, and it was all on me to perform, was the one that I wanted. So to me, it was about the pay plan and investment of effort versus reward. That's how I thought. I didn't know any better.
Yeah, and I think long-term service has a more stable future than being on the sales floor. We don't know how things are going to change with sales coming up in the next 5 to 10 years. So I think you can build a book of business. Like Chris, you talk about, in your training, which is to stay in one place, build your clientele, build your key throwers, and create that trust fund that you deserve.
Yep. Good question.
God
that
has
good
no
enough for
further
the-
questions.
Is that good enough for the $100?
No, the $100 is going to go to somebody else, Jeremy.
Uh-oh.
God. Who's the $100 going to go to?
The $100 winner is Jay, who asked the question that we featured in last week's drive-by.
Man, I got more comments on that drive-by. People texting me directly saying that it really affected them, which to me was feedback that the leadership training that I'm doing is in the right vein, because I'm going pretty deep on some things in there that I know some people will be scared of. I was actually thinking today that I'm gonna have two versions of it, Jeremy. I'm gonna have the light version, and then I might have a version that people can ask for, and we'll turn it on for them in the platform. But not everybody is gonna want to go there, and some people probably will be scared of that. But Jay's question really did let me know that I was on the right track, especially the feedback that I got from Jay's question more than anything else.
Awesome.
So we got $100 going your way, Jay, and some swag, right? Books. Didn't Jay want books?
Jay did want books.
Yeah, send him books too. What did you hold up, Jeremy? Sorry.
Well, the $100 bill. There it is.
Oh, it looks big when you hold it that close to the camera. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the difference between professionals and amateurs. And you were all fired up about this.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I was pissed off today. And, there's a couple, excuse my language and the frankness of it, but you've done on-site visits. You've been to shops and dealerships. And, just observing a couple minor things, you can tell the difference from an amateur and a professional. And, so one of the things that I'm a strong believer in is our service team has to have its own final quality check. So before we give a car back to the customer, we've got to make sure that everything is right. And the things that I see on that will tell me whether I'm dealing with an amateur, or a professional. So just a couple of things that set me off. When technicians focus on a repair. Customer brings a car in for a certain concern and they fix a cooling system issue. Well, the rest of the car matters, and there's so much opportunity on these cars today. But when I'll look at a vehicle that's supposedly ready for delivery, this is just one example. You go on your final road test route and you notice the low oil light is on. So you stop, you open the hood, you check the oil, and there's no oil on the dipstick. Well, the car was just in the shop. What's wrong with that picture? That's what consumers are driven crazy about with automotive repair from day one. The professional technician, service supervisor, the professional in our field, they genuinely care about the customer and the financial well-being of that vehicle, and they want to make sure that it's perfect when it leaves. And just doing the job that's on the repair order is not enough. You've got to go beyond that and take pride in what we do. That when the customer gets their car back, it's like magic. It feels different. It sounds different. It is different because you took care of that car and did the right thing, and you paid attention to the details. So that just really hit me today as I was going over some stuff in the past and some notes and, looking at some of the cars that we were getting ready to deliver. I think it's something that we need to shake our industry up a little bit and really take our profession as a profession and not be an amateur. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. And it's little things like wipers or washer fluid. Like you have to think of yourself a little bit different and understand the depth and the amount that you have to care about something in order for it to really be special and it to be a career, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's your story of buying the jet skis, two completely different, scenarios, two different businesses, driven by two different things. The dealership that's going to get your sale is going to make the money. The one that didn't, unfortunately, their focus is primarily only on making money and not really serving people. So it's everywhere you go in every industry, especially in service. You've got to provide that service experience.
The next one is attention to details.
Yeah, so it's funny. One of the number one things I'll see when a car is ready for delivery is it's not staged, and then the rear wiper blade is the first thing I'll look at, because if that wiper blade's hanging down, I can guarantee you that store CSI scores are a lot lower than the ones that they actually take care of that. That rear wiper is just a key signal if they pay attention to detail or not.
Yeah, and fingerprints. Mm-hmm. Like, how many times have we done, $5,000 worth of work on a customer's car, and all of it has been done right and great, and the car runs better and the whole thing, and the customer comes back in and points out that there's greasy thumbprints on the headliner or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the things I recommend that all advisors do is sit in the customer's driver's seat when the car's ready and just look around. Just be observant of the car, the condition, especially right now in today's age. You've got to make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Don't forget to get your disinfectant. Spray that around.
Yeah, radio stations too, right? Like, customer gets in the car and it's heavy metal or it's mariachi music.
Well, come on, that's a systems issue right there. You shouldn't touch the radio when you're servicing.
Still attention to details,
Leave it
though.
Alone. Yeah, absolutely. Details for sure. Yeah, so the attention to detail is definitely critical.
Now, the next one on the difference between a professional and an amateur is practice. Professionals practice.
Yes, the Seattle Seahawks do this very well. Practice at a game time level, but they do practice all the time. It's interesting. How many times do you see service advisors practicing in our field outside of working hours?
Rarely.
Rarely. We practice on our customers. How do you ever expect to push your skill set further? And, Chris, I'm on the front lines every day. So I'm a shop owner and I work with my customers. And I can tell when I get out of practice and things kind of start to get away from me on the sales side of it a little bit, or my presentations. And when I start to feel that, I will literally go and practice an hour to 2 hours a day to re-hone my craft and get, the ums and the ahs and the pauses out, make sure I'm prepared and make sure that delivery is there, because you've got to practice and
Jeremy, I got another one for you.
And keep your skill set at a very high level.
Talking about professionals, Jeremy.
There's some feedback in.
I can tell. I can see it in your eyes. Why did the donut maker retire?
I don't know. Why did the donut maker retire?
He was tired of the whole business.
Okay.
Gonna have to stop at Krispy Kreme's on the way home now. There we go.
Okay, next one on the list is no coach and no training. They don't train. So what books are you reading? What training have you done to get better? Whether you're an advisor, a manager, or a tech, it doesn't matter. Reading books, right?
Yeah, and there's so many different areas that you can learn in that there's always something for you to learn. I would say turn your car into a university on wheels. You know, you've heard that before. Listen to the podcast, but definitely take your training seriously. And coaching's amazing. It just helps you get to where you want to go so much faster and eliminate the potholes in the road.
The next one we have is you make money instead of earning money.
Tell me more about that. What exactly do you mean?
Well, it's a job that you're doing, exchanging time for money versus a job you do and you're exchanging results for money. You're exchanging passion for money. You actually really care about what you're doing, and then the money takes care of itself. But it's kind of the difference between a salary or hourly employee versus somebody who's actually vested in the result and their outcome.
You know, you love art, and you know the artist that becomes a world-renowned artist really has a passion for being creative and putting his heart and soul into that. And it's no different in any job that you do. If you're just focused on doing the job and making money, the customers are going to be able to tell that experience from somebody who really is trying to make a remarkable experience for the customer every time, and that's their focus. So that's true. You earn it by performing and executing every single day with every customer.
Yeah. And then the last one that we have on here is professionals track their results. They know their numbers. They're looking at the measurables all the time. They know if they're winning or losing.
The scorecard. You have to have a daily scorecard to know if you're winning or losing. Where are you at every moment of the day? Do you need more cars? How is your gross profit? What are you on track for the month-end numbers? You know, you don't fall short of your sales goal the last day of the month. You fell short on it 10% a day during the 20 days leading up to the last day of the month. And same thing with annual sales goals. So tracking keeps, you know what, Chris, what I really love about tracking your numbers is it changes your behavior. And getting your personal human behavior changed is a skill that you can do by learning how to track the KPIs that are important to you on a moment by moment basis as well.
Yeah, it's good. So just to recap, number 1 is not caring. Number 2 is attention to details. Number 3 is practicing. Number 4 is having a coach and actually training, investing in yourself. And then number 5 is making money instead of earning money. And the last one is tracking your results. A professional tracks their results. It's a pretty good list, Jeremy. I like that one.
That is a great list, a great topic. Hope they get a lot out of it and can change some things.
Awesome. Well, that was fun. I'm glad that you survived your trip and that you didn't get gorged by a buffalo.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not on the underneath a buffalo's hoof right now, so that's actually good. Made it home
It's
safe
really
and
good
sound.
news. It's the little things, Jeremy, that make it all worth it.
Are you ready to hit Rampage with us in October?
What is Rampage? Is that a wrestling match?
Says it all right there. That's all you guys need to know. For those of you that know what Rampage is, we'll see you out there in October.
Is it WWE kind of stuff? World Wrestling Entertainment?
No, it's MTB, Downhill Mountain Biking.
Oh, yeah. No. None of that. We'll be doing none of that. And I won't be hunting for buffalo.
Awesome.
But I will be riding jet skis. That
With your
I will do.
with your license.
Yeah. And I'll have covers and I'll have life jackets, all that. It'll be perfect.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.